There is a secret hidden in something so commonplace that we rarely think about it: the color of our eyes. Many will say it's merely genetics, a simple inheritance from our parents. But from the perspective of depth psychology, the eyes are not just organs that perceive the light of the external world. They are symbolic windows, portals that connect us to the invisible, to the unconscious, to the eternal. In every shade, brown, blue, green, gray, amber, black, a hidden message lies, a reflection of the soul we carry within. Have you never looked into someone's eyes and felt, in that moment, that you were seeing a part of yourself? That is no coincidence. The eyes communicate without words. They reveal what the soul can no longer keep silent. Today, I invite you to embark together on this journey, to explore the hidden symbolism in the color of your gaze. For every pair of eyes not only observes the world, but also tells the secret story of the one who inhabits them. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, stated that the human being is not reducible to their consciousness, but is woven from symbols, archetypes, and unconscious energies that express themselves even through the body. Our body speaks, dreams, and reveals what the mind often silences. And among all parts of the body, the eyes hold a unique place. They are the living mirror of the soul. It is no coincidence that, across all cultures since antiquity, eyes have been regarded as sacred windows. They do not merely receive the light of the external world. They also project the light or shadow that dwells in our inner world. When we gaze fixedly at someone, we don't just see their form. We feel a vibration, a silent message born from the depths of their being. Depth psychology teaches us that the eyes are living symbols. Each color can be understood as a sign chosen by the collective unconscious to express something essential. Brown, blue, green, gray, amber, or black are not mere colors. They are like a secret language that the psyche uses to remind us who we are. This language is not learned from books. It is perceived with the soul. The eyes serve a dual function. They observe the world and, at the same time, reveal the inner world. They are a bridge between the visible and the invisible. In their reflection, we can grasp the duality between what we show and what we hide, between what we think we are and what we truly are. That is why, when someone holds our gaze, we feel as though they are laying us bare beyond words. A symbol is always greater than a rational definition. A symbol opens a door to the unknown, to the eternal, to what transcends us. The eyes work in the same way. Every gaze is an invitation to recognize that within us lies something far vaster than our everyday identity. When we contemplate the color of the eyes, we are not facing a biological accident, but a reminder of the archetype pulsing in the deepest part of our being. The eyes do not merely see, they also create. They choose what we observe and what we project into the gaze of another. And therein lies their transformative power, in the possibility of becoming conscious of this hidden language. Understanding the symbolism of our eyes is, in reality, understanding an essential aspect of our soul. Ultimately, the eyes are not mere aesthetic details. They are coded messages, archetypal imprints, fragments of eternity inscribed in the flesh. Every gaze contains a story, a wound, a hope. And those who learn to decipher this language discover that, beyond biology, the eyes are the secret map of our inner destiny. Brown eyes, the fertile soil of the soul. Among all the eye colors that exist, brown is undoubtedly the most common. And paradoxically, what is abundant is often the most underestimated. The everyday gaze deceives us. We think that what is frequent is ordinary. But in the symbolic language of depth psychology, what is common is often the most essential. Brown is not simple. It is the foundation, the root, the earth that sustains life. Brown eyes are eyes of the earth, fertile, warm, generous soil. When we look at someone with this shade, we perceive a quiet strength, a human grounding that does not need to manifest itself loudly. These gazes convey patience, stability, and trust, qualities that, in a modern world filled with chaos and haste, become true treasures. From a Jungian perspective, brown is linked to the maternal archetype. It represents care, protection, and containment. People with brown eyes, consciously or not, often attract those seeking emotional refuge. They are like trees with deep roots. In the midst of a storm, they offer shade, safety, and a place to rest. In love, the brown gaze reveals loyalty. It is not a fiery or impulsive love, but one built through constant acts, through gestures of commitment. This love is not based on empty promises, but on a daily presence, on an "I am here," even when everything collapses. Those with brown eyes know how to love firmly and silently, without the need for grandiose words. However, this strength also carries a challenge. Precisely because they convey so much security, people with brown eyes often bear the weight of others, friends, family, partners. Everyone deposits their fears and pains in them, often unaware that they, too, are vulnerable beings. Frequently, these souls learn to silence their own wounds to support others, forgetting that the earth, no matter how fertile, needs rest, water, and sun. So if you have brown eyes, remember, your capacity to care for others is a gift, but your soul also deserves care. Learn to set boundaries, to recognize that your strength does not mean invulnerability. And if you know someone with this gaze, do not underestimate them. Behind that calm appearance may lie hidden scars, unspoken pains, untold stories. Treat them with respect and gratitude, for their mere presence is already an act of love toward the world. Ultimately, brown eyes are the symbol of the earth, the root, the nourishment, the refuge. They are the promise that, in the midst of chaos, there will always be a firm place to anchor ourselves. Blue eyes, the inner sky, and the dreamy soul. Blue eyes have always captured human attention. In many cultures, they have been associated with the divine, the spiritual, the unattainable. Their color evokes the infinite sky and the deep sea, spaces that remind us of the eternal and the unknown. But beyond their superficial beauty, blue eyes hold a psychic symbolism of immense richness in Jungian psychology. Blue represents the archetypal, the eternal, the inner space. Those born with this shade often have a stronger connection to their inner world, thoughts, fantasies, dreams. It is not uncommon for these people to feel different, as if they don't quite fit into everyday logic. They carry within them an almost ethereal sensitivity, a call toward the intangible. Their gaze often conveys a certain distance, but in reality, it travels through invisible landscapes of the soul. Blue eyes can express tenderness and sweetness, but also coldness, depending on how much the person has integrated their shadow. If they manage to harmonize this sensitivity, they blossom into intuitive, wise, and profound beings. If not, they may become evasive, hypersensitive, or emotionally cold in relationships. Blue eyes seek intensity, mystery, depth. They are not satisfied with superficial connections. They need to feel they are connecting with the soul of another. However, they also value their inner freedom and flee when they feel trapped in empty routines. Their heart ignites for the enigmatic, for what slowly reveals its archetypal truth. Blue eyes are linked to the visionary and the divine child. These are people who dream of a better, fairer, more harmonious world. Their ability to imagine the ideal can inspire others, but also lead them to frustration when faced with harsh reality. Their great life task is to balance their inner sky with the outer earth, to live their dreams without letting them consume them. If you know someone with blue eyes, notice how their gaze seems to pierce beyond the visible. And if you have blue eyes yourself, remember, your gift is to see what others cannot. but your challenge is to inhabit the real world without losing your inner magic. In short, blue eyes are the symbol of the sky and the spirit, of a constant search for meaning. In them pulses the nostalgia for the eternal. Green eyes, the bridge between passion and calm. Green eyes are rare and magnetic. They attract not only because of their uniqueness, but also because they contain an intensity that is hard to describe. Looking into them is to feel a blend of calm and fire, as if opposing forces were constantly dancing within them. From a Jungian perspective, green represents renewal, life, and healing. Green eyes are a bridge between the brown of the earth and the blue of the sky. That is why those who possess them often live in a balance of energy between instinct and spirituality, rationality and emotion, impulse and restraint. Their gaze, without needing words, invites others to recognize both their light and their shadow. Often these people act as mirrors, revealing what lies dormant in those around them. That is why they can be irresistible or unsettling. They are passionate, intense, and at the same time protective. In love, they do not give themselves easily. They demand authenticity, trust, and truth. When they find it, they give themselves with devotion. But if not, they withdraw quickly, not out of coldness, but out of an archetypal instinct for survival. Green eyes are linked to alchemy. They transform what they touch, relationships, emotions, environments, and can trigger healing processes in others, almost unintentionally. However, this intensity can also turn against them, leading to volcanic relationships, existential crises, or extreme emotions. Their vital task is to learn to channel this fire into creativity, art, or spiritual connection. If you have green eyes, you have likely already felt this constant search for depth, for truth. You are not here to live on the surface. Your soul demands transformation. And if you know someone with this gaze, prepare yourself. Their inner world is an alchemical laboratory that, if it opens its door to you, will also transform your life. In summary, green eyes are the symbol of life in motion, of constant transformation. They remind us that true healing arises from the fire that dares to change. Gray eyes, the frontier between light and shadow. Gray eyes are rare, and perhaps for that reason, often overlooked, mistaken, or considered neutral. But in depth psychology, nothing that comes from the human body is neutral. Every color, every shape, every nuance carries a message. Gray represents the boundary, the threshold between light and darkness. It is neither white nor black, neither day nor night. It is the intermediate territory where the soul confronts itself. That is why people with gray eyes are often introspective, reserved, observant. They speak little but listen much. They feel intensely but process their emotions in silence. Often, those around them perceive them as cold or distant, but in reality, their inner world is so vast and complex that they rarely find words to express it. Gray eyes are associated with the archetype of the sage, the one who seeks to understand, integrate, and decipher before giving themselves emotionally. These people often excel in roles requiring analysis, strategy, teaching, or guidance. They have a rational mind but also a sharp intuition. They are not easily swayed by others' emotions, preferring to observe, understand, and then act. This makes them excellent counselors, psychologists, writers, or spiritual leaders. In love, gray eyes give themselves slowly but deeply. They need security, intellectual compatibility, and space to reveal themselves without feeling invaded. Their greatest fear is not losing the other but losing their own center. That is why they are selective. But when they commit, they do so with their whole soul. If you have gray eyes, you have probably already experienced feeling misunderstood or underestimated. But remember, your gaze carries an ancestral wisdom. And if you know someone with this shade, don't be deceived by their outward calm. Behind it may lie a battle, a poem, a revelation waiting to be shared. Ultimately, gray eyes are the symbol of the frontier, of deep reflection. They remind us that truth also resides in the twilight. Amber eyes, the ancestral fire of instinct. Amber eyes are a rarity, a hidden treasure in the human face. Their warm hue, blending brown and copper, sometimes with reddish or greenish flecks, evokes glowing embers beneath the surface, like a twilight sun that can never be fully captured. In the Jungian perspective, amber is associated with the archetype of instinct. It represents the vital warmth, the primal energy that drives life. That is why those who possess this gaze often have a special connection with what is wild, authentic, untamed. They do not easily follow imposed norms, preferring to listen to the voice of their intuition, even if the path seems uncertain. Their presence is magnetic, unsettling. They have an almost animal sensitivity, perceiving danger before it arrives, feeling others' emotions as if they were their own. Often, they stand out in fields related to nature, body art, dance, ancestral medicine, or even shamanism. Not because they seek it out, but because it is inscribed in their unconscious heritage, like an echo of primitive times. In love, amber eyes demand intensity, truth, and authenticity. They cannot tolerate monotony or superficiality. When they love, they do so with body and soul, but they never fully lose their inner autonomy. They need relationships that challenge and transform them, not repetitive patterns. Their great challenge is not to be consumed by their own fire. If they do not channel their intensity into creativity or spirituality, they may fall into impulsiveness, anxiety, or toxic relationships. Their vital task is to learn to cultivate awareness and balance, transforming their energy into light rather than destruction. If you have amber eyes, you have probably always felt different, even within your own family. Your gift is your instinctive sensitivity, your ability to detect the true and reject the false. And if you know someone with this unique gaze, love them as you would love fire, with respect and admiration, knowing they can offer warmth and light but also burn if you try to confine them. In summary, amber eyes are the symbol of ancestral fire, of life in its purest and wildest form. They remind us that wisdom also resides in instinct. Black eyes, the creative abyss among all shades. Black eyes are perhaps the most enigmatic. So dark they seem to absorb light. They do not reflect like a mirror or change with the sun. Looking into them is like peering into an abyss, not a void, but an infinite depth. In Jungian symbolism, black is intimately linked to the unconscious and the shadow. It represents what has been repressed, denied, hidden, but also the creative potential that has yet to be manifested. Black eyes are not an absence of light, but the seed of all possibilities. People with this shade radiate a magnetic presence that is felt even without a single word. When they enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. Not because of what they show, but because of what they are. They carry a contained energy that commands respect. Often they live inwardly, processing deep experiences in silence. Their inner world is vast, like a sacred cave where symbols, memories, and emotions intertwine. Black eyes are associated with the archetype of the magician or the spiritual warrior, both representing the power that arises from contact with the occult. These people often have an inclination toward the mystical, the esoteric, or the psychic. Without consciously seeking it, they may become guides, healers, or guardians of the unexpressed pain of their family or community. In love, black eyes love with an intensity that can be frightening. They do not give themselves halfway, demanding total loyalty and emotional reciprocity. For them, love is not a game, but a sacred pact. If this pact is broken, their shadow may emerge in the form of jealousy, contained anger, or obsessions. Their great life task is to integrate their darkness, transforming it into creativity rather than destruction. If you have black eyes, remember, your mission is to illuminate from within with the torch, born of having crossed your own shadow. And if you know someone with this gaze, look at them with respect. Their inner world is a universe they themselves may not fully understand. But if you earn their trust, you will have by your side a profoundly loyal and transformative being. Ultimately, black eyes are the symbol of the creative abyss. Darkness is not an end, but the beginning of all transformation. Conclusion. After exploring together the colors of the gaze, brown, blue, green, gray, amber, and black, we can understand that the eyes are not merely a biological trait. They are living symbols, portals to the unconscious. In each shade pulses an archetype, an energy, a vibration that speaks of the soul and its destiny. Carl Jung taught that the human being reaches their fullness when they integrate all their parts, the light and the shadow, the conscious and the unconscious. The eyes are allies in this process, reminding us that we are not only mind or body, but also a soul in motion. Every gaze we meet awakens in us memories, emotions, wounds, and hidden desires. When we look deeply into someone's eyes, we do not see only their color. We see their story, their fragility, their strength, their shadow, and their light. The gaze is an invisible bridge between two souls, a silent dialogue that reveals more than 1,000 words. The color of your eyes, then, is not a mere aesthetic detail, but a message your soul chose to remind you who you are. Brown, blue, green, gray, amber, or black. Each shade is a symbol, an archetypal imprint, a secret map to your own center. And here lies the deepest teaching. What you see in the eyes of another is also a reflection of yourself. Their light awakens your light, their shadows, your shadows. That is why the gaze confronts us, moves us, and transforms us. The eyes do not merely see, they create. They choose what we observe and what we project, becoming instruments of conscious transformation. So the next time you look at your eyes in a mirror, do so with respect and love. They are not mere sensory organs. They are windows to your story, your challenges, and your greatness. And when you look into the eyes of others, remember that behind each color lies a universe as vast and mysterious as your own. To truly admire is an act of courage and humility. Courage to see without judging. Humility to recognize that what you see in the other also lives in you.